Hello everyone. So after a brief introduction of all the participants, let us start with the topic. So today we are meeting with a group of teachers who have been exposed to online learning, and they have been exposed to this platform due to COVID lockdown. Initially, this is the scenario which we are going to discuss today. Some teachers in this group, they are parents too, and there are some teachers who are students too. So we will be having representation from the parents as well as from the students through being a teacher. I hope this is going to be a very good interaction, and as far as this topic is concerned or today's discussion is concerned, we will limit this discussion to the adjustment strategies which we will have to follow to bridge the gap between online teaching and offline teaching, because there has been a time period when all our students, they were being taught only through offline teaching, and during this lockdown the same student, they have been taught through only online teaching. So because of that, there are certain reasons because of which students and the teacher, they were not able to make this shift over very smooth. This introduction is timed to the situation when we have experienced some preliminary problems which were faced by the teachers as well as by the students, because this changeover was very sudden, and because of that sudden change, they were not able to adjust well to it. But now, as it has been 2 or 3 months over, so we expect that the teething troubles, they should be over, and now we are better prepared to take this challenge of taking online teaching. So as far as the lockdown is concerned, initially there were a lot many problems, because children as well as the teacher, they were not having stationery, there were no books available, students, they were not having mobile phones, they were not having laptops, and even the teachers, they were not having enough training, they were not having enough resources. So there were a lot many problems, but somehow we managed to keep our students in touch with the school learning, and that is a great success. I must appreciate the effort of teachers as well as the students, because through very difficult time they kept themselves attached to the school teaching. But as far as this situation is concerned, when our learners, they say that whatever the teacher has taught, we have not understood. So that is the situation when all the enthusiasm of online teaching, it gets killed, and teacher is also left thinking that what has happened, because I'm the same teacher, they are the same students, I was teaching the same way in the offline teaching, and I'm trying to teach the same way on the online teaching. Now why the students are not able to understand? So as far as today's discussion is concerned, we will be focusing on this part, that why the students say that they are not able to understand from the same teacher from whom they were learning in the classroom, and now they are not able to understand what the teacher is talking. And during this discussion, you are most welcome to register your feedback in the comment section. As I will complete one topic, I will tackle all your queries, and at the end of the topic, we will have an open discussion. Audio and video recording of this interaction will be made available on the YouTube, and in that only the audio and video recording of the speaker will be shared. The interaction of all the participants, that will remain hidden, and those viewers who are going to see this video on the YouTube, they are also most welcome to register their comments or compliments in the comment section, and I will try to answer all the queries best to my knowledge. So let us try to start with the discussion. As far as online teaching is concerned, we have to discuss and talk in this discussion for today that what are the different modes of learning and how online teaching strategies they are going to be different from the offline strategies. Keeping in view the changing scenario, that is during the lockdown and after the lockdown. How we were teaching before the lockdown, how we taught during the lockdown, and how we are going to adjust our teaching strategies for after the opening of the lockdown or after the unlocking. During this time period, we have come across some new words like social distancing, and this was the first time that students they have to be kept away from the teachers, because as teachers we all know that students they learn through social interaction, but due to lockdown that social interaction that was abruptly put to an end. So there is a question for you: how lockdown impacted education of school children? You can post your comment in the comment section. I'll try to tackle some from my side. If there are some new points, then we will discuss. As far as the situation is concerned, it was an emergency situation and all the measures that we took, they were very sudden, and we tried to adjust our teaching strategies to the new situation. So many of the activities that we did, they were taken as an emergency measure. Teachers also, they try to take up online learning as an emergency measure. But now we know that we must accept it as a change which is going to stay for a longer time period. Initially we were thinking that probably it will go away in 21 days or it will go away in 1 month or 2 months, but now we know that this is going to be the new normal. So that time phase during which all the teachers and students they were thinking that it is only for the short time duration and everything will be fine after some time. So because of that, maybe they were not in that mode that they try to adjust themselves. So they have now understood that this situation is going to prevail for a longer time period. So because of that, now they are in a better adjusting mode as compared to in which they were when this was started. Let us try to understand that how the learning takes place. So we must try to compare the time period to which our children or our kids they were accustomed to when it was the safe time or just pre-COVID time. How they were learning, because that is the process through which we have been putting them, and that is how they have accustomed themselves to the way of learning and teaching. So as far as that time period is concerned, let us try to take a flashback that how we were teaching during the safe time. As far as learning is concerned, learning is simply transfer of knowledge. As far as life is concerned, life teaches us many things, and for that school is not the requirement. We learn many things through our daily life activities also. Outside the school also we learn quite many things. But when we are talking about school teaching, then we are talking about teacher and learner interaction. That is a very structured interaction where the teacher gives them some knowledge which the children they are supposed to remember. They have to correlate it to the previous knowledge or understand it, and when the teacher asks them some question, then student has to replicate it, and we expect that child will be able to apply it in the life. And for this there are two modes of learning, that is online and offline. Offline is the normal classroom teaching where teacher and student they are sitting face to face, and online is the learning when teacher and student they are not face to face, they are not physically present at the same place. So now let us try to understand that what is the difference in this as far as online and offline learning is concerned. It seems that there is no difference. In offline learning, we were expecting the students, they will be able to understand what we are teaching them, they will be able to use it in their daily life. And in the online learning also, our expectations are same. As far as offline learning is concerned, that is age old. Similarly, online learning is also not a very new concept. It has been almost 20 to 30 years since when the online learning is being used as a learning platform in one way or the other. As far as offline learning is concerned, there has been direct teaching also. When the students are learning, they are face to face, and there has been distance learning also, which was also called as the correspondence courses or remote learning. When the technology it started developing and internet came into our life, so we tried to use that technology for teaching. We must understand that education is such an important aspect of our life that whenever there is a new technology coming, we want to incorporate it into teaching. We want that the children who are going to be the new generation, they should be exposed to this new technology. And internet, it has impacted teaching in a very wide manner. As far as internet is concerned or the digital media is concerned, after the internet and after the computers, there has been a great revolution in the education sector also. So when we are using information technology for teaching, that is called as ICT based teaching. So whenever we are using computers in teaching learning process, that is called as ICT. And online learning is also ICT based. And there is technology which is being used, and it is a way of remote learning. Previously, the remote learning was only through correspondence courses. So this has added to this that now we can reach those students who are sitting far from us through internet, and that is what is called as online learning. So here we are using internet, smartphone and computers. And with the use of these tools, we can reach a wider number of students, and those students who are not having the facility to reach good tutors or good teachers, they also can interact with them through internet. So that is of course a benefit of this kind of teaching. Another question for you is that how does teacher gets to know that learner has gained knowledge? Whenever the teacher is teaching, it is very important that teacher gets to know that how the student has learned. And for that, when we are teaching offline, then the most common mode of inquiry is that we can ask the student, and from the answer with the question, to the answer which the student answers, from that we get to know whether he has understood or not. That is possible when the learning is taking place in a synchronous way. That means when learner and student, they are sitting face to face and the process is taking place at the same time. That means as the teacher is teaching, at the same time student is learning. But as far as online learning is concerned, it can be synchronous as well as asynchronous also. So when you are conducting Zoom classes or when you are conducting any such classroom by using any other platform, maybe Zoom or any other Google platform, or there are so many other softwares available. So whenever you are using those platforms to interact with the learner face to face, and the process is going on simultaneously, that is called as synchronous. But whenever you are recording the lesson and you are uploading it on the platform, which the student can view or listen to at some other time, then it would be called as asynchronous. The mode of inquiry in these two systems is slightly different from the offline learning. When the child is sitting face to face with the teacher, then teacher gets to know whether the learner is learning or not through his facial expressions or by asking some simple questions, and from the answer which he or she gets from the learner, the teacher gets to know whether the child is or the learner is learning or not learning. And teacher has a facility to capture the attention of the learner, and because of that the learning of the learner, it gets better. But when you are teaching online, if you are teaching in synchronous way, even then teacher hesitates to ask the question to the learner because of many different reasons. One of the reasons is that when we are teaching online, then we are very careful about the time boundaries. We have to complete the lesson within that time frame, maybe 30 minutes or 40 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever time limit that you have set. So you don't want to waste even a single minute in asking some question to which you know that it is the feedback is going to be very important, so that you can proceed your lesson in a better manner and you can get to know whether the learner is learning or not. But teacher avoids asking question, and teacher has prepared the lesson and he or she is in such a motivation that he wants to complete the lesson within the given time frame. Because of that, what happens? The teacher doesn't get to know whether the learner is learning at the same pace or not. If you are teaching your class to which you have been teaching as a regular class, then it is comparatively easy for the teacher to understand that what is the pace of my class or which student learns at which rate. But in a condition where the teacher changes due to some reason or other, or some new students are added to the classroom to whom you are not interacted at a personal level, it is going to be difficult for you to understand the pace of the learners, and it will be difficult for the teacher to adjust accordingly, because online learning has its own pace. So sometimes learners, they are not able to learn at the same speed at which he is given the information. We all know that in our regular classes also there are different types of students who learn at different levels, at different pace. And in the regular class, teacher adjusts accordingly by repeating the points again and again, or writing it on the blackboard, or making the student write it down in the notebooks, or by capturing the attention of those students whom he or she as a teacher knows that these students, they are not able to keep their attention to the topic for a longer time duration. So in the offline learning, teacher is having certain strategies so that he can involve all the learners into that topic which he or she is teaching. But this is not possible when you are teaching online, because what happens, the teacher is not in contact with so many students who are taking the lesson. Because of that also problem arises, and student may say that they have not understood. Another very valid point is that when there is a question in the mind of the learner, in the offline class, students has a chance to get up and ask the question. But this is not possible in the online learning. As I have myself told you that during this discussion on this topic, I will be taking the comments but I'll be taking the comments at the end of the topic. Same way, when you are teaching in the classroom, probably you are also doing the same thing. That when you are teaching, you are giving the opportunity to the learner that if you have any doubt, any question, you can type in the comment box, and teacher will take them at a later stage. But this is not the way we are teaching in the classroom. In the classroom, when a question comes to a child's mind, then he has the opportunity to get up and ask the question, and teacher gives him the relevant answer there and then, so that child can bind his attention to the lesson being taught. So this is the shortcoming of the online learning, that also gives hindrance to the learning for the small child. They are not able to bind their attention for a longer time period, and wherever they miss the attention, after that they lose interest in the topic. And teacher, he doesn't get to know that which learner has lost the interest in the topic, or which learner has lost the attention, and teacher is not able to capture that attention back to the lesson. Another problem may come when the teacher is teaching in the classroom, then how he is assessing the learning. Very commonly used method of assessment in the classroom, which is taken as formative assessment as we call it, that when you teach the lesson, immediately after that you ask them some questions so that teacher can get to know whether the learner has learned or understood or not. This facility is also not available in the online learning, because you don't have enough time to ask all the learners certain valid questions which they can answer, and you don't get to assess what you have taught. So because of these three very basic reasons which we are very commonly using in our offline learning, because they are missing in the online learning, teacher is teaching at some other level and student is learning at some other level, and this happens especially with the small children. One thing, that the teacher is not able to capture attention of all the students, teacher is not able to hold the attention of the students, teacher doesn't get to know when the child is pacing out of the learning, child doesn't get a chance to ask the question, teacher doesn't get a chance to clear the doubts, teacher doesn't get to know how the lesson is proceeded, teacher doesn't get to know that whatever she or he has taught, has the learner understood or not. So because of these reasons, the learner is not able to understand the lesson, and even after a lot of hard work put in by the teacher for preparing the lesson and for giving the information to the learner, in the end the child says that I have not understood. So let us try to take another point, that is the role of effective communication in this. So what is communication? Communication is a two-way process which is taking place between sender and the receiver. In this case, who is the sender? Teacher is the sender and learner is the receiver, because teacher is providing the information and student is receiving the information. In offline learning, the medium which is used for transacting this information is through listening and speaking. In online learning also, we are using the same medium. Teacher is talking and students are listening. Very important part of the communication is the noise or the disturbance which is created during this process. When we are teaching offline, then all different noises or disturbances, they are tackled by the teacher. And at times in the offline learning, there are more disturbance as compared to online learning. There may be some sudden voice coming from outside, there may be some mischievous student sitting nearby, there may be a PN coming with some circular, there may be 1001 reason because of which the communication gets interrupted. But all these reasons, they are quite very different from the noise which is created in the online learning. During the online learning, the kind of noise may be that there may be an abrupt ending of the connection, the video stops playing, the system gets heated up, the audio is not playing well, somehow the listener is losing the contact with the speaker. So these different kinds of noises, they are such like that sometimes the sender doesn't get to know about these things happening at the receiver end. And because sender is not getting to know about it, he or she is not able to tackle them well. So at time it happens that teacher is transacting the lesson, but student is not receiving the information. So that is another point because of which the lesson it gets spaced out. Teacher teaching at different level and learner either not learning or learning at a different pace. This also we have to keep in mind when we are teaching online. We have to keep on checking that whatever the message we are trying to send, that is being received by the receiver. Let us talk about another problem which we are facing in online learning. That is the language barrier. This may sound very unfamiliar to you, that when we are teaching online, even then this new barrier it may arise. It is strange that we are teaching the same students in the classroom and we are using the same language which is understandable to teacher and the student both, and we presume that we are teaching the same way when we are teaching online, but still this language barrier crops up. Let us try to understand that what is this barrier. Language barrier means that when the learner is not able to understand the language which is being used by the teacher. But of course, if the same teacher has been teaching in the classroom, then how can this barrier come up when they are teaching online? One of the reasons may be that when the classroom is happening offline, then the class is happening between teacher and the taught. And during that time, the teacher may be using two different languages at the same time. Teacher may be using English as the textual language and the common language of the child, the natural dialect of the child, for explaining the content. Very commonly I have seen that teachers, even those who are teaching in English medium schools where they are supposed to teach in English, they tend to read in English but explain in Hindi or Punjabi or any other language which is more comfortably understood by the learner. So what is happening? That teacher is using two languages simultaneously, and our learners, they have got accustomed to this. Being an educator, I don't find that why it should not be done. It can be done if the teacher is having a genuine intention to make the learner understand the topic. Then teacher may explain explain the content in the mother tongue or the local dialect which the child can understand very well. But here I have seen that there is sudden change when we are going online. When the same teacher is teaching the same class online, then teachers, they are becoming very careful about not talking in Hindi or Punjabi or natural dialect, which they were very commonly using in their regular classes. If there are some teachers who have been using English for reading and English for explaining, there I don't expect this language barrier to crop up. But in all those schools where, being an English medium school, teachers and the learners, they are accustomed to being taught in Hindi or Punjabi or any other natural, any other normal talking, speaking language of the child, there this language barrier has cropped up. There, the students, they have a complaint that when the teacher was teaching in the classroom, then she was explaining it in mother tongue. But now teacher is talking only in English. So because of that also, some children may not be able to adjust with it. When I asked some of the teachers that why they are not teaching the same way as they were teaching in their regular classes, they have their own complaints. Because the classroom teaching, it was not being recorded. So this recorded version, which is made available to the parents or to the teachers after the class, that has put the teacher in a situation where he is being criticized by the parents as well as the school management, because they have to be very careful about their image. And in this process, the learner is suffering. If this is a flaw, then we should have been very careful about it when it was the safe time. Now, when the children, they are passing through a phase when there are lot many other stress, then putting them to this stress that they are not able to understand because of the language is further complicating the situation. We should try to look for a solution rather than trying to cover it up. So those teachers who find that this is a problem, they must try to use the simple language, as simple as possible, so that students can learn what they are being taught. And as far as this language barrier is concerned, teachers may make videos in two languages also, that is in English as well as in their natural dialect also, so that student can listen to that language and understand that what he was being taught in through and through English. Another barrier that we may see in online and offline teaching is that how to judge the previous knowledge of the learner. As far as offline teaching is concerned, teachers are so accustomed to prepare their lesson considering that this is the previous knowledge of the learner. But I don't find any teacher who doesn't test the previous knowledge of the class when he or she goes to the classroom for actual teaching. That means that though you have prepared your lesson in a way so that you can start the lesson at some beginning point and take it to some level, that is the end point, considering that this was the previous knowledge. But when you are teaching online, then what happens? You have your own notion that this much the children must be knowing. But what happens? Usually children, they don't know that much. So that means you are starting the lesson at a different step as compared to the knowledge of the students. This problem has also cropped in because children and teacher, they are not sitting face to face, and teacher is trying to save the time. As far as previous knowledge is concerned, we can tackle this problem by giving the student an assignment before we start with the lesson. That means that in today's class, you can provide them some assignment which is related to testing of the previous knowledge for the next class that you are going to take tomorrow or day after tomorrow or whenever you have planned it out, so that the learner is ready with that previous knowledge. Otherwise, you will be talking something, assuming that the learner knows about it, but the learner is blank. He doesn't remember all those facts which are required to understand the topic. Besides this, there are certain other barriers which are specific to online learning. Online has its own barriers too, because when we are teaching online, then we are using technology, and technology can be a facility as well as a barrier. How technology is a facility? It is a facility because by using this, even during the difficult times, we were able to connect with the learners. So there it is a facility. But how it is a barrier? It is a barrier because learners, they were not exposed to this technology in the safe time. They never had any experience that they will be taught like this. They had certain experience with the computer teaching, they had certain experience with smart boards, but that is entirely different from online teaching. Maybe there were certain seminars which they have attended online, but that was not what they were supposed to learn for the examination. So as far as online teaching is concerned, students, they are facing this barrier for the first time. We all know that this is a new technology, and technology, it is a fast changing process. New things come up to which many of the learners, they were not exposed to. Even many of the teachers, they were not knowing about certain technologies. They were not knowing about certain softwares which are available. They were not familiar with them. They were not having enough of expertise of using them. So because of that, this technology, it came as a barrier. And another reason was that why to use this technology when we were so happy and comfortable using the normal classroom. So we were always under this hope that we will not have to use this, we don't have to change anything, we don't need to learn new things, and very soon we will be shifting back to the offline classes. So because of that, there was certain hindrance to learn new knowledge. And man by nature is very lethargic. They don't want to learn new things. They don't want to change. And as far as internet is concerned or other technology related to online learning is concerned, because there was no need, so they have not learnt it. And when they were suddenly put to it, they had to learn it. So that is one of the reasons that technology, it came as a barrier, because we were not accustomed to using it. We were not comfortable using it. We were not in a learning mode. We were not ready to change. But of course, with passage of time, now we have understood and we are better adjusted with this new technology. Another barrier, it came from equipment. I can understand that many of the students who are coming to very big posh schools from posh localities, from very well-to-do families, we can expect that everyone must be having a phone. we can expect that their parents, they may be having a laptop too. But this is also true that many of the teachers, they don't have their own laptops. This is true that we may be having a phone, but that is basically a simple phone which we use for making the phone connections, not for viewing multimedia, or not for viewing videos, or not for getting connected online to our teacher or to the students. The specification of the equipment that was being used by the teacher as well as by the student, that may not have matched with the requirement which is required for online teaching. So there may be that there was no equipment available, or if the equipment was available, they were not very familiar how to handle it, especially the students. They were not familiar, parents, they were not giving the phones to their children. So because of that, children, they were not very comfortable using mobile phones for learning. And as it is, mobile screen is such small screen that it is difficult for the child to read from that 5-inch screen that is most commonly used by the parents, though even if they are having a smartphone. How to adjust with this? We as a teacher will have to find some ways where we can tackle this problem, that the learner is not having the proper equipment, or even if the teacher is not having the proper equipment to get connected to the learners. We can't expect that every parent can afford one dedicated phone for each of the child that they are having in the family. We can't expect that every parent will be able to afford a laptop for each of the child that they are having in the family. So we will have to modulate our teaching strategy in such a way so that the students, they can use whatever equipment is available to them, and they can learn the lesson from that also. As far as equipment is concerned, there was a time when even the books were not available to the students. Leave aside laptop and mobiles. Then we must understand that listening is such a thing which a child can do even with the low specification equipment too. As it is when we are teaching in the classroom, it is not at all the time necessary that teacher is having face-to-face interaction with the child. We will have to modulate our lesson. We have to rebuild our lesson in such a way that whatever we are writing on the blackboard or whiteboard or your computer screen, we must have a tendency to read it out, so that even those students, they can get to know what you are writing or what is being given as the visual in the online, and they can understand it well, even if the resolution of the picture is poor or the correction is poor. We can ask the students to use simple headphones so that they can listen to our voice clearly. Because if they are listening to our voice, then they will be able to understand a hazy visual also. Otherwise, if audio quality is poor and visual is also not very clear, then the learner will not be able to understand, and that will create a barrier. And those parents who can well afford to buy better equipment, they must buy at least a tablet, which may be a 10-inch tablet which is more suitable for the student to learn, as compared to a mobile. And teachers, they must try to buy a laptop, because they have to prepare the lessons, they have to prepare the PPTs, they have to prepare the audiovisual content, and it is very difficult to sort and to type all the materials on the small screen of mobiles. So for the teachers, they must buy a laptop, and for the learner, they must have a tablet, or they must have a laptop if they can afford to, so that online learning can be fun. Another barrier which may come up is the knowledge of handling technology. This is a big possibility that learner and teacher, they have some knowledge of technology, but they don't know how to handle it. They are not very familiar with all different kinds of softwares which are available for making the videos. They may not be having enough knowledge of what different types of platforms are available for interacting with the learner. The learner may not be knowing how to adjust the audio and video quality of the learning material that he is receiving. You can't assume that all children they do know how to copy and paste, or how to download a picture, how to save it, how to get it printed, how to take it to the printer by taking it in a pen drive. So all this simple knowledge that is to be provided, and the teacher, they must conduct some special classes, and if they need be, certain special classes should be conducted for the teachers also, so that they get to know about different technologies which are available and how they can use it. Not just knowing about the technology, but we have to develop the skill to use the technology also. And skill, it comes with practice. The more you will use it, the more skillful you will get. And for that, you have to provide certain exercises to the learners, so that they get to practice for online. If the teacher was not able to make assignments and give it to the students in the pen paper mode, the same way the learner, they were also facing the difficulty that they were not able to supply you the answers. So that was also to come online. And if the learner is not very skillful, then he or she may not be able to do the typing, the speed of typing, or he is not very comfortable with typing on with all the fingers on the keyboard of the laptop. So because of that also, he may not be able to send the assignment at the right time. To develop this skill, teacher must provide them some assignments, so that the learner, he gets to practice and he gets to learn how to use digital tools for writing the assignments and for making it convenient to him, so that he feels comfortable with new technology. Now let us talk about some learner specific barriers. We know that in our classes there are all different types and different natures and different intellectual levels of learners sitting together. How can we forget this when we are teaching them online? The same class which you were teaching offline, there you know that some learners, they are at different level as compared to the average class. Some may be very bright, some may be lagging behind. Some may be naughty, some may be serious. Some may be having very bad handwriting, some may be the kind who are not interested in writing at all, and some may be very careful in their written work. Some may be very good at oral work, some are shy. We know that all these individual differences, they are occurring in our regular classes. And all the teachers, they devise different ways to tackle these individual differences. when we are teaching them online, then we have to keep this thing in the mind. We can't teach everyone the same way. We will have to devise certain other techniques so that we can help those students who are lagging behind by either providing them some simplified assignments, or by providing them some additional notes, or by providing them a flow chart, by providing them some pictures so that they can learn better. Similarly, those learners who are at a little advanced level as compared to the average class, there also you have to keep them engaged. You have to provide them some exemplary questions or some kind of assignment which keeps them motivated. So because of this, because the teacher, they are not able to do this during the lockdown period, that also demotivated the learners. As far as online and offline learning is concerned, though many of the aspects are quite similar, but we must keep in mind that change of medium that has taken place during this shifting over from offline to online, that has posed certain additional challenges to the teaching. And to the student, there is one simple explanation that they are putting up that they are not able to understand. But for a teacher, there can be different explanations to this statement, that why the child is not able to understand. And this also we have to keep it in mind, that some of the students, they are vocal, whereas some, they don't talk about it. We know that it happens in our classes. When we ask the students, have you understood? Everyone will say yes. But being teachers, we know that some of the students, they have not understood. There are always some students who don't understand, but they say yes. Same way, when you are teaching them online, don't ask them to just comment that if you have understood, say yes. Many will say yes and shut the topic, close the discussion by saying that yes, we have understood. You have to keep on checking whether they are actually understanding or not, whether they are actually engaged in the learning activity or not, whether they are actually keeping their interest in the lesson or not. And if they are not, then being a teacher, it is your responsibility to check it and to bring their attention back to the classroom or back to the lesson. And while using online learning, don't try to miss the basic points which you are using in the offline learning. Always put child in the center. And all the education is knitted around the child. To facilitate the learning of the child is the motive. Not to just complete the lesson in 35 minutes or just to complete the syllabus in 40 periods or 60 periods or so on. Because that way, even after completing the syllabus, even after completing the lesson, in the end, if the learner says that I have not understood, then all effort it fails. So it is more important to keep the online learning as close to offline learning as it is possible. I understand that there are certain hindrances which you will not be able to tackle, but try to make an effort to facilitate learning of the learner. We are not able to tackle 30 students in the single classroom. How can you expect that you will be able to handle 100 students in the online learning at the same time, considering that the software which you are using, that gives you facility to get attached with 100 learners at the same time. In offline learning, when you are actually seeing your learner, when you are actually able to interact to your learner, there are chances that you may find that some learner have missed the attention and you are not able to bring it back to the classroom. How can you expect that you are teaching online and you have blocked video of all the learners? Now neither you are viewing them, your learners are not visible to you. You don't know whether they are listening to you or not. You don't know whether they are present at that place or not. You don't know whether they are paying attention to what you are saying or not. How you will be able to keep their attention to the lesson at that time? So though there are certain facilities with certain softwares, don't compromise the goodness of online learning for saving time at your end or saving effort at your end. Teachers, they will have to put in extra efforts so that they can smoothly take their students from offline to online learning. If teachers, they start taking online learning as a means of saving time or saving effort or just finishing the syllabus, then that will kill the spirit of the education. Then this whole process is going to crumble down. And as far as online learning is concerned, if you kill the enthusiasm of the child, then you are going to kill the enthusiasm of advanced learning for the child. Because what we are seeing now, that online learning is the future. Students, they will have to opt for online learning if they have to go for higher studies, maybe in some university or maybe some foreign university or maybe certain courses which are not available offline. So if you will generate disinterest for online learning, then you will kill the future of the child. So it is very important that teachers must put in extra effort to bridge the gap between offline and online and make it online learning as an enjoyable platform, so that students enjoy it and students, they are able to have confidence in this way of learning. So I hope that the points which have been tackled here, they have been useful to you. So those messages which have poured into the message box, they will be taken one by one, and now we can have an open discussion on this topic.